Hello and welcome back to another episode, and this is going to be an episode of hypocrisy. Why, you may ask? Well, I've actually caused a little bit of a drama in the Skylander community. If you went back to yesterday's video, if you haven't already seen it, that is, I received a lot of Skylanders, and I will grab the box just to give you a bit of a heads up or a bit of visibility. Look, I'm back in the scene. So these are the way that this particular seller sent them to me. So they put them in the box. They could have paid an extra $1 or $2 to buy the bigger box. I did pay probably $10 more for postage than they actually paid, so they had well and truly enough money. So what they did is they actually folded it to put it in the box. This is, like I said yesterday, this is about a $75 character. And yes, I'm repeating myself because I need content. I'll tell you why in a second. So what I did is I put a public service announcement in the Skylander space saying, hey, look, realistically, if you're advertising something as mint, send it that way. Make sure that it arrives to the buyer that way. Don't leave it up to interpretation to what the buyer is going to receive. So I didn't drop any names. I didn't, name and shame anyone. I can still sell them as a second hand, and it has had some unexpected side effects, to tell you the truth, which I'll get in a second. So long story short, the seller outed themselves immediately saying, I send them like that because it saves you money. And I'm like, well, how? It's actually costing me money. But look at it from this way. So I paid $30 for postage. That box is probably $18 postage. To upgrade it to the extra large box is probably about $25 postage, and probably worst case scenario, she would have been, $3 or $4 still in her pocket for the bigger box and the postage and all those different things. So she didn't really save me money. She's actually just skimmed off the top a lot more than she did. There was no packaging material, so before you get all your pitchforks and your torches and chase me and that little octopus here, I feel like Maui, but just a fat white version of Maui with these tattoos if you haven't seen the movie. But she didn't put any packaging material in there. She didn't put anything in there. So she just plopped them all in, folded them, and then played the world's worst game of Tetris. And lo and behold, people flamed her. So like I said, my intentions wasn't to bring her out of the woodwork, wasn't seek a refund or anything like that. So like I said, they're still sellable characters. They're still rare. I would have been quite pissed, to say the very least, if they were hard to find characters, like in the sense that, like when I spoke about yesterday, those chase characters where, there's only 1,500 made, which would increasingly decrease the value that you could get for it. Today, I promised you a thrifting video. Did I deliver? Did I not deliver? So I'm going to move out of the way now, and I'm going to put it over here. So, post-editing Josh, or editing Josh, will put the video over this side. Ava and I did go to Salvo's and Vinny's. Salvo's was completely trashed, so I didn't take any videos there. Vinny's, I did take a little about 20 seconds short because Ava and I found this plush and a few other plushes that she brought home herself. This is a Furyu. It's a Japanese brand. It does have a name for the specific cat. I keep thinking Nezuko because my daughter's obsessed with Demon Slayer, which is anime. So very similar to Nezuko. I originally thought it was a fox when I seen it, but a few people have it listed in Australia for $100 brand new. Still has its hang tag on. I don't think it's new. I'll list it as secondhand. Paid $7 for it, as you'll probably see in the little video running down the side. I've turned the sound off on that because they had music blaring and all those different things. So I'm going to talk for the next 5 minutes because that's how long this horrible thrifting video is. And this is explicitly what you asked for. And this is the reason why I don't do thrift videos. So you can watch here or you watch me at the same time. So going back to what I was talking about, that hypocrisy, actually had my first, and a few other people mentioned it as well. And if we're just going to put an pin in this for a second. If you're a brand new reseller, if you have no feedback in your account, this is something you will you'll encounter, if I can speak English again, quite frequently, probably till you get that 100, maybe not that high feedback, but you will see it quite often. So long story short, someone reached out to me from America saying, hey, look, you sent me a Skylander, so watch how this story evolves. So this is keep up on how this story evolves. So you sent me a Skylander, and it's not as a picture. I was like, oh, okay, cool, no worries. Send me the pictures. So he sent me the pictures. This particular Skylander is called Spotlight. It was one of the characters I made reference to the other day in a video. Wasn't that one, and I don't have it on me, but it's a little white dragon, and it's got its wings pretty much back, almost back like this, and it's got little, plastic things that go back, and hopefully I'll put a photo up later. So long story short, one of the little plastic things was slightly indented, in the sense that you could probably just get your finger and warm your finger up and straighten the plastic out to do that. Like literally, it is a non-issue in the Skylander space. So then I wrote back quite direct, quite blunt, because my octo sensors were quite quickly going off as to what this was playing out, and he played out exactly how I was expecting it to. So this is not acceptable. You've upset my son. We've created a very big investment into this character. Yes, that is probably true. The character's a $150 Australian character, so around about $90 US, maybe that $80, $90 US plus postage. So all in there, probably about $110, $115 US for this specific character. Like I said, that I would not have sent it if it had any defects. It may have, because it's very, very soft plastic, so when it was postage, it might have like slightly bent, and it would just take a case of 2 seconds, you could fix it. I could tell you. I can tell you right now. So he basically said it was quite an investment. Then he said, look, when you send these things, you need to package them better. I can tell you now that you'll be hard pressed to find someone that packages Skylanders as well as me, because I told you before, I use boxes for everything. I don't fold them in half for starters. And what I do is I put them in a Ziploc bag to make them waterproof. So if there is, currently in America, there's snow at the moment. There's also fires, which is not going to do much in regards to Skylanders. And hopefully anyone's over that way aren't affected. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. Rain, it takes that element out of it. So if the box gets wet, the character's not going to get wet or damaged. Not that it probably would by just a little bit of splash damage in the sense of water. But just take that extra precaution. And on top of that, I put in bubble wrap or butcher's paper to make sure it's basically stationary. And like I said before, is I normally post them so they float. So they're not on top of the box or they're not on the bottom of the box. They float in the middle. So realistically, unless they get hit by a truck or ran over by a forklift, they're going to be perfectly fine. And hopefully you're still enjoying this shitty video next to me. Remember, you asked for this. So then he basically said to me, look, the character was rolling around in the parcel and had no protection, no things, and I was like, well, that's crap for starters, because I treat these $2 Skylanders no different to I treat Robo or Green Chompy Mage, which is the $1,000 characters. I treat them all the same. I might put insurance on those $1,000 characters, but like I said, I package them exactly the same. I've never had an issue in the thousands of Skylanders that I've sold so far. So I said, all right, cool, no worries. That doesn't sound like my packaging at any capacity. Can you please send me a photo? So he sends me a photo of my Australia Post box with, lo and behold, the packaging in there. So the brown the butcher's paper are in there and the Ziploc bag. So the story's evolving already. And I was like, well, how did this actually happen? Because it floats in the box. Customs must have opened it. Well, is there any rip marks? Like, is there any tears in the sticky tape, or is there any signs of being open? No. Then I was like getting quite direct with my responses now. And like I said before, I'm a big advocate for customer service. Treat people polite, treat them courteously, but don't get walked over. So realistically, go from that way, right? So then my responses were getting short and short. And I want to throw a little tip in here that I've never, ever heard spoken about on eBay, YouTube reseller channels or anything like that. So we'll get to that in a minute. So the story kept going on, and unfortunately it evolved that his son was autistic, and I was like, okay. But as much as I laugh for that, and if you are a new reseller, what I threw back to a little bit earlier, is that this is a common scam in the reselling space, is that you'll have someone reach out to you and say, hey, look, my child's autistic, especially around Christmas time or Xmas or school holidays or things along those. My kid's autistic, I have no money, and he needs this item. Ignore them. I can tell you now, I have fallen for this scam many years ago. Someone reached out to me when I was selling Lego when I was quite new to the Lego space. I'm quite sympathetic, so it was back then, not now. They offered 20% of what the list price is. I had it in the sense of saying, well, season's greetings and Christmas cheer and all those different things. So I gave it for 20%. They left me negative feedback. So I can tell you right now, that is a scam 99.9% of the time. Yeah, their child may be autistic, but do not bring that into the equation. Like, hey, look, I bought this for my child. He's quite upset. What can you do about it? What I can do about it is give you a postage label to send it back to me, and I'll provide you with a full refund when it comes back. Wasn't happy with that. As it progressed, is there something else we can do? I've checked your eBay store, and you've got nothing in stock for this particular character. Well, there's a reason behind that. I quickly jumped on my phone and turned that character from 1 to 0 to make sure he didn't buy another one. Because on my mobile, I haven't worked out how to actually block a buyer. I'm pretty sure you can do it in the app, maybe from the message, but I was quite pissed off, to say the least. So then it eventually eventuated to, hey, would you consider a partial refund? This is where it always goes, right? So there is a natural progression for these scams per se. And it may not be a scam, but I can tell you what, it reeked of a scam. So we're just going to call it that because it's my YouTube channel. You could debate in the comment sections below. It basically starts with like feigned anger or disgust or I'm really angry and I'm going to leave you negative feedback. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to elicit a response saying, oh no, I don't want negative feedback, and my reputation's too important, or what can I do to please you? Because realistically, at the start, they're trying to get you to give them a full refund. In the sense, hey, here's all your money back. Go away. Because I didn't do that, then he went down the path of saying that I packaged it incorrectly. So if he had left negative feedback, or if I had ignored him, he could have went down the path of an INAD or a negative feedback, which would have stuck on from an eBay perspective, because, and that's me, one. For those that constantly wondering in the comment section why I keep doing for this one, a lot of my earlier videos I used to say perspective a lot. It was almost my linking word, and if you know Australians very well, we normally use swear words as our linking words, and for me to not swear being in the military, I needed to come up with another word. So my linking word, like a comma, you could probably say, would be perspective. So I'm trying to change my ways, trying to be a lot more affluent or articulate. I'm not too sure which one's the right word in that capacity. But like I'm saying, that's the reason behind I always go 1, 2, all these different things. So progresses from there, because then I said, hey, look, the package to provide, the packaging's fine. You've sent me photos of it. So then what he's done, he's escalated again to his autistic child. So, this is to bring, the whole, feel sorry for me, or you're a bad seller because my autistic child is crying and he's attached to this specific item, and blah, 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 blah. Because, and I was talking to another YouTuber at the time. I won't disclose it, but you can out yourself in the comments if you want. Nothing bad, but we're pretty much saying how much we're over humans today, and this leads to the point I'm getting a little bit later, and hopefully this shitty video is still running along, and you're ripping your eyes out about how bad my videography is. But then I didn't bite with the autistic child because, like I said before, is I couldn't substantiate this claim. Not so much that you would if you're engaging with that scam or otherwise, but, and I have said before, a lot of people in the Skylander space. There's not everyone. I'm not trying to give everyone a big wide brush, but a lot of the people that I deal with from a sourcing perspective, or engaging with, and like I said, my friend down the road that I drop off my broken characters to, they are on the spectrum in some capacity. I'm not making fun of them. I'm not doing, trying to bring attention to them, or, victimize them, or all these different things. That is a legitimate, thing in the Skylander community. Like I said, not 100% of people, but a vast majority from that way. And then what it progresses, that's when he come up with a partial refund. So keep in mind that it was probably $100 US out of pocket for this particular character. I said, cool, all right, what are you thinking? Because if you thought to myself, if it's going to cost me $20 Australian to get rid of this guy, I'm more than happy to, you know, palm off a $20 partial refund just to get rid of him, piss him off, and not see him ever again. But he came out and goes, well, I want $25 US for partial refund. I think I actually laughed at him. I said, mate, I am willing to give you a $20 Australian refund because it is going to cost me more than that to get it back to me. And the principle is that I could have done that, and I will talk about that in a second. He was happy to accept the $20 refund, surprise, surprise, and then gave him the $20 refund, instantly blocked him because by this time I was home, and he left positive feedback. If you go back through his feedback, and I might accidentally leave his buyer name in the description. So if you want to, if you want to block him from that way as well, maybe just consider that, especially if you were in the action figure category or toys and stuff like this. This particular individual is from America. So for those that don't know, from in America or the UK, we don't have a global shipping program. So for those new resellers that somehow stumbled across this video first in the reselling space, I do apologize. There is infinitely better people on YouTube than I am. But America and UK, I believe, have a global shipping program in the sense that they send it to a warehouse. I think there's one in Kentucky, and I'm not too sure about the UK, so we'll just go with the US. They send it there. eBay certifies that it's the product. It's, you know, in good condition. After that, eBay takes carriage of it. They send it to the buyer. If there's any issues, eBay funds them back. The seller is not in any way in a detriment. So a lot of sellers, they get excited when they see a global shipping sale because, yeah, like I said, they just have to get it to Kentucky or wherever it needs to go to. Then they're home and host. They got their money. There's no risk of negative feedback. There's no risk of refunds. There's no risk of anything because eBay takes carriage of that. And I'm pretty sure that there's something similar in the UK as well. If you are from the UK, hopefully I can move back in the picture now. Maybe I can move back. If you're in the UK, please let me know in the comment section below if that's the case for you guys as well. Or if it's not, just tinker it and let me know because I'm quite curious of how it works. In Australia, we don't have anything like that. We need to go through Australia Post. We have carriage of this thing as soon as it leaves our house until it gets delivered in America. So from memory, the eBay policies are you need anything under $750. I would strongly suggest you insure it. However, after $750 Australian, you need to have it signature on delivery. So going back to the lava lamp of years and years and years ago, not really, a month ago, I insured that and I had signature on delivery. And probably the reason, like I said, the big hoo-ha in regards to that lava lamp was because they dropped it on the parcel, they dropped the parcel on the ground, left it, then it disappeared. I paid for signature on delivery, so if I was that buyer, I would have gone to UPS or whoever delivered that item from an Australia Post perspective to ask them why, why wasn't signature on delivery obtained? I think it was. You know, as I further down the track, I do think it probably would have been a bit of a scam in the sense you try to get it for free, saying it was stolen, you know, put a credit card charge back, all those different things. Because I had it insured and also had signature on delivery, which is what I put in the item not received case in when it came up. eBay was more than happy to cover me, and that's why they covered me from a seller's protection point of view. Look at that. So be very, very mindful before you start shipping big ticket items like laptops, phones, and everything else you can think of. $1,000 Skylanders, lava lamps. Make sure you read the seller's protection policy every time. Like I can't stress enough. It gets updated, I won't say frequently, but probably maybe it has been updated since you last sent over something quite expensive. So it doesn't hurt to just to refamiliarize yourself with it before it screws you over and goes from that way. But with this Skylander, he's gone. He's been blocked. I don't particularly care anymore. Move on. Long story short, I paid probably $1 into that Skylander, right? So I could have realistically, and if it had a rocked up with its head missing or its wing missing or something that legitimately broken with that, and he said, hey, look, I put it on the portal of power and it's not coming up anything. Can you please let me know what to do or what I can try? Or then obviously escalate it from that way. Through some troubleshooting, I would have just said, hey, look, mate, either send it back to me, which is a problem in itself, and I will get to that in a second. That's what I've been teasing all the way through. or here's your refund for the full amount. I wouldn't strongly, if the item was less than $20, I probably would have refunded the whole lot, right? So hey, go away, here's your 20 bucks, piss off. A lot of resellers, especially in the YouTube space, tell you not to do that. I agree for the most part. However, you're only really losing the initial cost of the item. So like I said, that Skylander would probably cost me $1. In the grand scheme of things with the bulk lots I get, am I really going to write a negative feedback for the case of $1? Yes, it cost me $125, or in this case, it cost me $20 Australian just to give them a partial refund, piss them off. However, the negative aspect of a negative feedback would have had a longer lasting effect. So I normally about $500, $600 a day at the moment. But you know, if I had a negative feedback or I had a defect against my account, that could be in the next 3 days being 0 sales. So you really need to take that into consideration when you deal with your customers. Do not aggravate them. Do not piss them off even further than they are. Be direct, be polite, and don't let them walk over you. So getting back to what I was talking about with the international postage from Australia, like I was saying with the eBay Global Shipping Program, if there is a problem, just say if Helo's World sent something to me through the Global Shipping Program and it arrived damaged, I wouldn't go back to Helo's World, I would go back to eBay and say, hey, look, it's arrived damaged. Can you do something about it? What will happen then is eBay will basically wear the cost of that. They will refund me. I get to keep the item, I believe. I'm not too sure because I don't think I've ever returned anything on eBay, to tell you the truth. But Chris, Helo's World, is completely in the dark about it unless I contacted him directly. So he won't know there's an open return, or he won't know there's a case against him. As far as I'm aware, this is what I'm going off other people. But in Australia, because we have to ship through our national carrier, our postal system, we don't have that luxury. So when someone opens up an international return or international INAD, it's almost like a scam in itself, in the sense that we do not have some sort of easy mechanism to get that item back to Australia. A couple of years ago, I did have someone, I sold I got a fly in here, sold a Nintendo 64 part. No, sorry, it was the GameCube part. It was the Game Boy reader. It actually clicked on the bottom of the GameCube. He said to me, and this is the reason why I won the case for it, is he actually said, you know, it doesn't work. I know you can't get it back to you, so give me my money back. So he shot himself in the foot. Long story short, eBay sided with me. He got to keep the item, and I got to keep my money. So I don't know if they refunded him, or it was just a case of that he, you know, got funded back for eBay and I got to keep my money. I'm not too sure, but that's something you need to take into consideration. But going back to what I was saying again, so the easiest way, and I've never heard this on eBay, YouTube channels, especially in Australia, so I'm just going to take it as my own. There's probably a good chance that someone's already spoken about it, probably, you know, Toolsy Thrifters, Diary of a Flipper, Uncle Wayno, someone like that, but I haven't watched it, so I'm taking it as my intellectual property. What I did with this, I actually reached out to the YouTuber that I was talking about a little bit earlier, that we're discussing, we're over humans at the moment, and I said to him, hey mate, can I post this thing to you? Can I go into Pirate Ship, which is like, you know, a platform over there, have it, you know, sent from their address. I'll put their details in it and send it to, you know, this YouTuber. He said, yeah, that's fine. So at my very least, my fail-safe was to get this Skylander away from this person, you know, trying to scam me for the full price back, and to send it to this YouTuber. What I would strongly advise, this might necessarily be applicable to a vast majority of people. Build relationships with people in other countries. I have lots of friends that I've met through YouTube, that are viewers, and also other YouTube content creators as well. I'd be more than happy to send it to them, or likewise for them to me. You know, if they ever sent something to Australia directly, someone was trying to scam them, send it to Josh, and Josh will send it back over to them. Quite trustworthy in that respect. But like I was saying, is that I was willing to send it to this YouTuber. This thing would have been 100 grams. I don't know what that's in ounces, but you can let me know. So it was quite loose, quite light, I mean. So what I would do in future, so there's two ways we can look at it. So you can, all right, we'll rewind a little bit. So I've been shipping internationally, and I strongly suggest that once you get your head around shipping domestically, ship internationally. Majority of your customers will probably open up on that global space, especially if you sell things that are readily available in Australia, but not so readily available in America or the UK. So what I would strongly suggest is creating relationships with resellers in the overseas. Make it a two-way relationship. Don't obviously just take without giving anything back. It may be just joining Facebook groups and talking to people, talking to people in the comment section here, joining Discord groups, joining Facebook pages. I don't particularly care, but building that relationship, working out, say, hey, look, Shane or Soda City Flips or Chris or Chad from Wolfman's Goodies or Woody and all these different things from Woody's reselling with Woody. I'd be more than happy to send them, say, hey mate, do you mind if I send this over to you? Then when it arrives, let me know if it's arrived in the same condition. If good, I'll refund them. Then maybe down the track, I'll fling you 20, 30, 40 bucks, whatever it costs to get that item back to me. I'm in no hurry from this thing. Realistically, in this case, because this guy pissed me off so much, I was willing to, if it was even a $4 item, I was willing to basically have it shipped to Hilo's World to Chris, then give it to Chris and say, hey mate, sell it yourself, go for gold. Just to, like I said, just because primarily this guy was trying to scare me. However, if you are quite introverted, unlike me, in the sense that you don't want to talk to people, you don't trust people, you're pessimistic, like me, you don't think that's the best course of action. The other thing I would suggest is actually creating a forwarding service. There are a couple of forwarders in America, there's a couple in the UK. This not necessarily work across every country, and very similar to the first suggestion I said as well. I use My US. I'm not sponsored by them, but that's where I get a lot of my imports from when I order stuff from America around Halloween. A lot of Halloween lollies and all these different things that I bring in for my other business. So you could have it shipped to them. So you would do the label up from 123 Main Street, New York, whatever, if that's an address, I'm not too sure, to Florida, which is the forwarding address. So once it gets back to Florida, the My US would actually open up the box, take you some photos, then go from that way. They're pretty good photos from My US. Like I said, I've used them for years and years and years. So then you can actually work out if the item's in the same condition. So if they open it up and it's got its head cut off, that's obviously you reach out to eBay from that way and go, hey, look, this is not the same item. This is what's going on. Fix it, and adjudicate from that way. So that's two different ways that I haven't heard people talk about on YouTube as to how to get international returns back, because primarily a lot of people are using pirate ship, or they just give the money away. They don't know how to do it. eBay does not have an easy way to do it. So when it's kind of like upload shipping label or refund, I'm pretty sure that's the two options we've got available to us. You cannot create a return label through Australia Post. You need to go through their postal system. And a lot of people don't know how to use the postal system over there, myself included. I would have learnt in this specific case, or I would have asked Chris, hey Chris, this is the address. Do you mind, doing up a label? I'll flick you the money. I'll PayPal you the money, or whatever capacity we can get the money to you. Let me know it arrives. I'll refund them, and we'll worry about getting it back to me eventually. Or, like I said, go through that, that forwarding service. There are a couple, like I said, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure Ship It's one of them. But like I said, I use My US. I can't complain. It's been good for me. So, yeah, and like I said, that's something that I really, really, really wanted to bring attention to today, because people don't take this into consideration. That there are the biggest international scams from my point of view. People are going to be picking me up on that in a minute. Are those ones that know that it's very hard for us to get that product back to us with the international returns, like the INADs or the change of mind returns. I don't accept international returns. I will if I'm forced to. However, like I was saying, is that 30 days domestic, no international returns, primarily because of that issue. But let me know in the comment section below, have you thought of that? Have you heard of that before on eBay reseller YouTubers channels? Like I said, it's quite new to me. I thought about it this morning when I was talking to Chris. Well, this is fantastic, because he sent me a video of some snow, which I will put up here somewhere. And currently it's about 34 degrees here. I'm wearing jeans and my beloved octopus shirt, sweating. But Chris sent me some footage. I will put it up here and let you know what it looks like in where are you from, Chris? Chris is about 40 minutes away from Kevin the Commonwealth Picker. You'd have to let me know in the comments. But anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.